need shades, and then I can look cool.
Yeah, shades are great. I got cockeyed too. People can make fun. Look at that. I mean, come on.
I have a lazy eye, and honestly,
So it's all
there
those
are two videos.
freaky eye people.
Wear
No, but there are two videos I recorded about a month or and a half back that I was tired and the eye was obvious, and I didn't see it until it already booked out, and I wasn't going to take it down. So
We're all a bunch of cockeyed, weird-looking guys. All right, so
Okay, cool. That's always
that's
good.
very collect comics. We are doing Nickel Comics. Today's weekly choice was Alan, so Alan is going to lead off. D will be with us very soon. Let's make Alan big.
Okay, so I'm going to explain the comic. So this is a Nickel comic number 1. It is the first appearance of Bullet Man. Basically, when he was young, his father was a police detective and was putting away the bad guys, the mobsters. And it didn't go so well for him. He got shot and basically shot in the back. And his son vowed to one day become a police officer, just like his father, and fight crime. However, it's kind of very similar to the Captain America story. He spent so much time studying and learning about criminology that
especially ballistics.
ballistics, yeah, and he would actually solve local crimes, and they called him Bullet Man because he could solve through ballistics. They called him Bullet, not Bullet Man, but Bullet.
Yeah.
And what happened was he was kind of wimpy, just like Captain America. This book is before Captain America, just so you know, like 6 months before Captain America. So this is where the story idea for Captain America came from. I'm saying, just now release the hate. So basically, he doesn't get in because of his, he's physically not capable. But they say, hey, you're really smart, and you can maybe work in the crime lab, and so that's what he decides to do. But while working there, he develops this idea that criminals are just behaving that way because they are infected with some kind of crime germ or disease or something. And he develops a serum to cure people of their criminal behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And he first tests this serum on himself. And just like Spider-Man, the next day he becomes super strong. Or actually, like Captain America, he takes the super soldier serum, and he becomes super strong the next day. Like, he goes to bed and he's like, maybe it didn't work. Next day he wakes up and he's like buff. He's like,
yeah, only he doesn't have Haley Atwell there to touch him and go, oh my God, he's so big now.
yeah, exactly. So the funny part is he's like, oh man, they're gonna totally notice. So he buys like these oversized like clothing to kind of make it look like he's like, really wimpy. And so he goes back to work like that. But then he hears about some criminal who is taken, like, he was going to blow up a building. Okay. And if he doesn't, the police can't do anything because if they go near, they'll blow up the building and everyone will die. So he decides that, only way he can save the day is he develops this bullet helmet that basically is an anti-gravity helmet that also acts like a protection thing. It protects against bullets as well. And it allows
protect from the ground too.
Yes, it allows him to fly. And he develops that helmet, and he basically dons this costume that he creates. And he goes out and he goes to this building where this criminal is being holding up. And the only way in, he tries to find like a window or a door. The only way in is through the chimney. But the criminal is smart. He puts like a fire in the fireplace, so nobody can come down. He's not going to get taken out by Santa. So he basically smashes through the wall as he's going down the chimney above the fire, and then he attacks the criminal, and he the criminal lights the fuse basically. And so Bullet Man, with his superpowers, now he's super strong. He takes all the explosives and throws them into the sky and saves the day. And that's the first part. There's actually another criminal story that happens in it as well.
Similar to
within
Superman Action One, where Superman deals with 4 different things in the
yeah,
first
so
story.
yeah, so in the next one, this is where concussion comes into play. I'm totally blanking. In the second one, they're kidnapping all the police people.
Yeah.
And what happens is his girlfriend, who's also involved with the police, not well, kind of girlfriend.
I
I
thought
think
that the Jungle Twins was the next story.
no,
Yeah,
This is still within the first.
still the Bullet Man story.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And
Okay.
Still in the Bullet Man
the
story.
girl, his girlfriend or whatever, is the daughter of the sergeant or whoever.
Yeah. They get kidnapped,
Okay.
but
It's Gwen
Bullet
Stacy.
Man throws like some goo on the fluorescent goo onto the roof of the car so that he can track it, and he tracks them to their lair. And basically, they're trying to either brainwash all these people to the main criminal guy is basically going to go to jail if they testify against him or act against him. So he's basically trying to control them so that they can, he'll be able to go free. It was the dumbest plan ever, but that's his plan. I don't know the plan. It's like such a dumb plan. And so Bullet Man comes and he saves the day and gets rid of the bad guy. Yeah, it's a pretty simple story, the second one. And then at the very end, though, Bullet Man finds out that the stories have sort of grown in the media about Bullet Man. People seeing a guy flying around, all that kind of stuff. So the media says anyone that can find a photo of Bullet Man, they'll pay $100. So Bullet Man takes a picture of himself and he sends it to the newspaper to get money and he gives it to the Policemen's Association. So sort of like Spider-Man at the end there.
Very much so, yes.
So there's so many things that Bullet Man sort of was the first one that kind of did. So I thought that is a cool book. I don't know.
It is.
So that's the synopsis of the story. Now here's my opinion of it. I really like the cover. I think it's a cool cover.
Mm-hmm.
You got him, like, I love when they show their powers, and this one has got so much cool stuff going on. He literally, you can see him go whoosh through the ship, and you can see like bodies of the people falling out from where he had made
he obviously doesn't have Superman's qualms about killing.
No. That was the other cool thing. There was like a scene where he's in the criminal lab.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, I'm going to find out through, sleuthing whether the person is guilty or who's guilty or whatever. And the police are like, oh, we'll just rough up somebody and get the answers. I thought that was so cool. It's like
1940. Wow. This is 41.
It was like 41. So it's like a very different way of.
And this is before the war started, right? Because that was December. This is not December. This is early.
Yeah, just barely.
Yeah, so much different way of thinking. I just thought it was hilarious. And Wortham actually, going back into the Destruction Instant, Wortham had issues where police were being portrayed, as being a little bit shady. He didn't like that in the comics.
Except for the fact that Miranda rights didn't exist till the late 60s. I mean,
then that's even better. So it makes sense. Okay. So yeah, but I love the cover. I would give it a 4. I think it's a great cover. Okay. Mm-hmm. Interior art is kind of, it's not the strongest, but it conveys the story well. So like when we did a book, X-Force 25 or whatever it was, and I thought the art was like really, really trying to be like, kind of cool and do a whole bunch of things. but it didn't tell the story well. This art was the other way around. It was not as good quality art, but it told the story well. So it was much more practical art. So I'm going to give it a 2.5 for the art, interior art. And then next thing is story.
Yes.
I like the story. I think you got to remember this, from the time that this came out, this is a lot of original ideas. The super serum kind of idea, the anti-gravity helmet, this kind of, it's
You have to
dorky looking,
remember,
but it's kind
he's
of cute.
flying. He's flying, and Superman didn't in 1941.
Yeah, so there's a lot of
Superman
stuff.
didn't get.
Oh, you
Superman-
stole my shit. I was going to talk about Matt. Daggone you.
Oh, sorry, he didn't get flight
Yeah.
till 1942.
Yeah, so I was going to get into that too. So there's a lot of things that Bullet Man did that other characters at that time didn't. And so he was actually one of the flagship characters for Fawcett. So you got Bullet Man, you have Captain Marvel, the Marvel family, right?
I think what was Ibis the magician was
And
another
Ibis is the other one, yeah.
Main Drake.
So he's one of the main three, actually, for Fawcett. So a really cool character. I really enjoyed the story. I give the story like a 3.5 because I thought it was a pretty, it was a good origin. It had sort of very Captain America vibes to it but it was before Captain America, so makes you even appreciate it more. That he was like really keen to become a police person, but it actually backfired on him because he studied too much and rather than actually physically training as much as he could have. So I thought that was cool. Just a really cool book. I just really like it. Overall, I gave it a 3.5.
All right, fantastic. Great job. You really nailed every point. I got a little mixed up when you said second story. I look at it as a whole, but that's completely
Yeah, well, second story within the first. Yeah.
a little second order. I got you. So D, you want to go next, bro?
Yeah, fuck it. Let's run it. I'm not going to break down the book because Alan just did that. He knows this book and character way better than me. So I'm going to kind of just get into my scores and explain them as I go. I love that cover. I think that is a fantastic cover. I want to give that a 3.5.
Yeah.
And if it seems low, I don't rate many covers at that level. So
yeah,
I like that cover a lot.
And if you notice the yellows and reds kind of match, like his costume. Yeah, it's so much brilliant stuff going on.
I'll go with interior art next. I give that a 1.
Yeah, I can see that.
It is so bad. And I think it's because they're using a lot of panels to fit a lot of story into a few pages.
Mhm.
So like you just don't get as much detail when the panels are that small. This scene here where his dad bites it, you can't even tell what's happening without the text. Like
that is true. That is very true. And that
so
and that little splash panel is probably one of the smallest splash panels I've seen in a comic book.
Oh, and it's really bad.
The art is not great inside.
Yeah. Is that
you would never see that little detail in a comic book today.
Yeah, but I try not to look at it through that lens because it's not today. It's
I
a
know.
long time ago. But I still just going to judge it the way I see it. Now, here's the deal. Bullet Man is a very old superhero. And you got to remember, I'm reading this for the first time in 2024 after seeing so many other origins. This may be more original than it appeared to me when I was reading it. But the origin was very... my dad died. Now I want to be a cop. Like it's such a typical superhero origin. But when you said like he came out before Captain America, like okay, well then that's it kind of makes him seem a little more original in my eyes. I'm gonna give the story. I was gonna give the story like a 1.5, and not an angry 1.5. I still enjoyed reading it. I just didn't know if it was that good. but I'm going to give it a 2.5 now that you told me it came out before Cap.
Yeah.
So it got a raise because of that. And the villains are they're nothing special, but they're introducing Bullet Man. They're not trying to create the next big supervillain in this story. Biggie, I want to point out something Biggie said, but someone already stole his thunder, so I'm not going to touch on this at all. I'm going to let Biggie have it. But he had mentioned something to me about this that was very funny, and I couldn't help but notice it when I started reading it that he's dead on with that. So Biggie, I'll let you. You're going to have that one.
Okay. If I can remember it, I don't know. I say a lot of weird stuff, but I'll try.
Well, if you don't remember it, I will give me the floor when you're done, and I'll let you know if you covered it.
Okay, cool.
So, man, overall, I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so reasonable.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy this book though. Like I the interior art was not good. I still enjoyed reading it, and I'd be interested to know, like, when was the last time you saw a Bullet Man in a comic book?
I don't know.
Please, I have no idea. I'm not sure.
1980. I want to say Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Whoa.
We got to bring him back, baby.
Yeah.
I want to say Crisis because at that point, they were using all the Fawcett characters, and there was an Earth S with the Shazam characters. So I think Bullet Man. I mean, he may not have been in there, but I know at some point he was shown in the 80s with the Earth S.
Interesting. All right,
Yes.
tear her up, Matt.
All right. Well, Alan has covered the synopsis of the story, so I'm just going to go straight into.
You guys are lazy, man. I'm gonna fucking eat that.
Well, it's not that. I mean, I find what I found interesting. It was one of the first few times that somebody gave themselves superpowers with a device by using the bullet helmet. He gave himself flight, right? So I mean, like at that time, there weren't too many.
Hold on. I don't think that he gave himself flight. He was just able to handle it much better because the
helmet let him fly.
He couldn't fly before.
I thought he was able to like flop out of the building and shit.
No.
Look at.
But what I don't understand.
Power.
He had super strength. That's it.
Yeah, he had super strength. So I'm not understanding where he got his invulnerability because he didn't look like he got hurt by breaking in through the brick wall.
Oh, the helmet protects him. It creates like a anti-gravity field around him.
Okay, well then I missed that part. However, as I said, this was early on. I mean, the only other real heroes, and I'm not sure if Green Lantern was before or after him because he had the ring. So I don't think there were too many people with powerful objects before this. I mean, Dr. Fate had the helmet. I know that Dr. Fate was out before him, and he had a helmet as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was a different sort of thing. Fate's helmet was a gift from a god and gave him magic powers. So I'm going to start with the cover. I think that the cover is pretty damn good for 1941. I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay.
I like the cover.
It's actually 1940, by the way.
Okay, so it's 1940. So we're really even getting.
So it's a 4.
If it's definitely 1940, okay. No, if it's 1940, then his helmet predates Green Lantern. So for sure, but he still may not predate Dr. Fate.
Okay, I'm going to look up Dr. Fate. 1 sec here.
And also, there's the Hour Man thing. I know Hour Man was 1940, early 41, late 40. And he had a drug to give him temporary powers. So, but it's neither here nor there. I mean, like, the fact is that there's actually some originality to it. And so I'll get to that in the writing part. The interior art is absolutely horrible, even for 1940.
Yeah, it is pretty bad.
Okay. Like we're talking about, this is okay. Here, my nephew can draw. Let him draw. Okay.
Just
Here's
so
what
you
it
know,
feels
Doctor Fate and Bullet Man came out at the exact same time.
Okay, well, then there you go. So that tells me that Bullet Man and Dr. Fate both had this, therefore, like it was a unique idea because they wouldn't have known about Dr. Fate.
Mhm.
So, and as I said, there is a lot of uniqueness to it. So when I get to the writing itself, I think that the story deserves a 4. There's a lot of original ideas for 1940 or 41, whatever year you want to play. And there's a lot of concepts in there. I like the fact that they use a CSI. In the 40s, that wasn't as big a thing as it is today. I mean, they only started doing that sort of stuff in the 1800s with Jack the Ripper, and that didn't work out. So, considering his knowledge, and I like the fact that it shows how smart he was to make this formula to give him the strength. So, as I said, I'm going to give the story, the actual writing, a 4, but overall, the book only gets a 2.5 because the art just tears it down so much.
What
was the last score you said for the story? I'm sorry.
The story I give a 4.
Okay.
And the overall, I just give it 2.5 because the art brings it down so much.
Oh, fuck. I didn't mark your inside art. What did you say?
1.5.
1.5. Okay, 1.5. And then.
And you know me, I'm not that critical usually. They just, if this was my first experience with a comic book, it might have turned me off. That's how bad the art was.
Oh, wow.
3 for the cover, 4 for story, 1.5 inside art, and what was overall?
Overall, 2.5 because the art just brings it down so much.
All right. Very good. All of you guys did a great job pointing out things. I think I was wrong. I just pictured. I'll show you how I got confused. All right. So I like the cover a lot. Cover's great. I think that's a destroyer battleship.
Yeah,
that is a destroyer. That is a destroyer.
Yeah, he's blowing a hole through it. Very neat. I've seen some other Nickel comics. That one's my favorite cover as far as I know. I'm not expert on them, but I do like that cover.
That hull is not. It's definitely too big and too narrow to be anything but destroyer in that case.
So this is a bi-monthly. You get it twice a month. Every other Friday you get this book. So you get 2 books a month. That's pretty neat. It's a nickel comic, which I appreciate. A little cheaper than the 10-cent comics. That was the main reason I ever wanted a nickel comic. It's because it says nickel comics. Well, it helps that there's a first appearance of a pretty good character too to go for. So that's cool. All right, so you go to this page. You all talked about the splash. I'm surprised nobody brought up that the next page is the same fucking thing.
That's just Biggie. That's just how the link that I sent you made it look. Yeah, that's not how it was actually printed.
That's not how it's printed. Yeah, don't worry.
So I went to the next page. I saw the exact same thing. I'm like, okay, that's fine. All right. So hold on. Shit, I can't. I'm having a problem clipping it now. Yeah, they talked about the cops. His dad died. He wanted to be a cop too. He couldn't pass the test. He made a serum. He got big. So there's this part at the bottom where he lifts the bed and he punches a hole in the wall. And I just took it upon myself to think he flew out of that hole, I guess. Or I got mixed up because he was talking to this girl and she was asking him if the serum worked out or something. And he's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. What serum, And
he has to get rid of it because he's worried that people will use it.
So I totally glossed over this point. I don't hate this art style. I actually like this better than the Wonder Woman inside art. I feel like this, like that straight ahead looking panel right there. It looks very basic and shit, but for me, it just strikes a chord.
I got a problem with his pants.
Yeah, the pants are horrible.
No, that's the style.
Well, the knees, the legs are too bony. Is that the style too, or?
It can be the style. It's a terrible style.
It's like those. What are they called? Those riding pants or whatever they're called.
Oh God, yeah.
So he jumps out the window.
Oh,
Maybe
right.
he forgot he had the helmet or something. I don't fucking know. But either way, the helmet. The only thing that's not original, okay, about this, is Superman did come out. Superman wasn't flying at that point. He was damn near flying. He was jumping out windows and shit. So he could leap buildings in one leap. So it's very much almost the same. Like, I'm not sure if Bullet Man's flying yet. He's just kind of jumping around. He's not like soaring around the planet
No,
yet.
he can fly. He can fly.
He could fly, but he's just flying in the city for now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
but he's flying.
Rookie flying. He's doing rookie flying.
He's not doing like going to.
He's not
around
doing
the world.
transatlantic flights or anything yet. But
Right.
Yeah.
By
He-
the way, his
Back and
last
forth to Krypton. They didn't let me know.
Yeah.
his last appearance was in Infinite Crisis.
Oh, you got it
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I just looked it up and it said that he and Bullet Girl showed up on the reestablished Earth S, and that's what I thought. I knew I'd seen it in one of those Crisis
so is
ones.
that like
That's in the
1996 or
2000s.
something?
That's in the 2000s.
92. Okay.
So yeah, he's pretty hardcore. He's strong. You got this hateful fucking weirdo guy. That's kind of a cool little villain for just the first issue. He had to like do the fire thing and all that shit. I guess that was the part where you're saying they started the fire so he couldn't come in, right, Alan?
Oh no. That was earlier. So the first villain he fights is got like a chim. The only way that Bullet Man can get to him is through a chimney,
Yeah.
and there's a fire there.
Okay.
This other criminal, he's like, okay, if I can't brainwash you guys, I'm just gonna light you all on fire, and you're gonna all die.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
And then
Fire
we'll
and
get-
Bullet Man, right?
Yeah, we'll get new police people, and then they won't testify against me because we'll control them all.
Okay. Well, I felt like it was okay. It kind of felt it was a fast read.
It was
All right.
very fast paced. Yeah.
It's fast read. The panels somewhat depicted the story. I didn't feel like it was perfect, like Alan was saying. Like it was some of the shit was a little like you needed to read the dialogue to understand what was going on more than the panels. You couldn't just skim through it.
Yeah.
But I think the dumbest part to me was his name was literally Bullet, and like Jim Bullet Fastine or whatever the hell his name is.
No, that's his nickname. Philip
Yeah.
is his nickname.
Right. Well, you look up his name; it's Jim Bullet or something too. At the same
No,
time.
no, that's his nickname.
Okay.
They
Well, when I
nicknamed him
googled
Bullet
it,
because he's really into
Ballistics.
ballistics. Yeah.
so I found that a little too obvious. To like, it's worse than Clark Kent without his glasses. Like, he looks just like the guy. His nickname's Bullet.
We were
Oh, that-
talking about. I don't think those cops are that smart. I mean, we're talking about we'll just go rough up some guys and we'll get some answers.
But also,
I mean-
like the way that they perceive him is that he's a wimpy guy when he's at work, right? He wears the clothes. He actually de-emphasizes his strength and everything.
I actually find him similar to the Flash, the Barry Allen one, because no one thinks Barry Allen is the Flash because Barry Allen is always late and always has been before he became the Flash.
Mhm.
So
Even though
Yeah.
he shows up at a lot of the same places.
Hey, Biggie, can I say something real quick?
yeah.
So that was the point that I was saving for you
Yeah.
was that, and I fully agree with it.
Yeah.
Being a Bullet Man and having the nickname Bullet is really, really dumb.
It seems
He-
dumb.
Like, and I get all the other parts of it. And it's the same kind of excuse that we make with Clark Kent and Superman. Like, oh, you can't tell it's him because he's so different in person, and like,
Well,
like in real life, I would know that's fucking Superman. All right, like you can't. If I've seen Superman on the front page of the newspaper posing with the mayor, and then I met Clark Kent, I would know that they're the same person. Just the same way as like, hey, this motherfucker that everyone calls Bullet looks just like Bullet Man. That is weird as fuck. Hey, I think he's Bullet Man.
Clark literally does things to show. He slouches a little bit as Kent. He wears low shoes so that he doesn't look that it doesn't quite look the same size as Superman. He wears clothing that hides his big physique. He also ups his voice, and because he's Superman, he can sound natural, upping his voice to sound like Clark. And the fact is, when Superman, this has been pointed out in Superman comics in the post-crisis era, Superman has the bluest eyes. They don't quite look 100% human. But when he puts the glasses on, part of the effect of the glasses makes his eyes look more normal.
What if
people are not associating him as with the alien eyes, so to speak?
just think of it this way, Matt. So, what if Clark Kent's nickname was Super Clark Kent? Would that
Yeah, no, it makes it kind of obvious. Yes.
okay?
I agree. I agree with the point.
When he was klutzy and clumsy as Clark Kent, that would be a mocking nickname.
They actually in the comic, if you read the last panel, they actually comment that about Bullet Man and Bullet. They recognize it themselves in the comic.
Okay. So beyond, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. You were done. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So besides that, I'm not gonna give him full credit for like being extra original. Like I know it's before Captain America and stuff, but we could date the serum or tonic thing decades before this. Maybe not in comic books, but there's been stories and pulps.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, there's been stories and other things. Mr. Hyde and Jekyll, Dr. Jekyll.
That's the first thing I
Dr.
think
Jekyll
of.
and Mr. Hyde. It has a bit of that, right?
Yeah.
It does. A lot of comics, there's tropes. That's why they're tropes. The only thing that he might have done that I feel like maybe original was the picture thing, like how Spider-Man needs the picture and he needed the picture. Well, he's a cop. He's not really a photographer, but I thought that was a little original. The flying thing, I don't know. Maybe I don't think he's the first flying hero. The avenging his father.
Oh, he wasn't the first flying hero because didn't Captain Marvel fly?
There you go.
But
yeah, Captain Marvel.
But Superman didn't fly until 42, and that took the radio show to give it to him. They did it in the comics later.
Well, they did it in the comics, but then they sort of by accident. It was not intentional that they did it in the comics.
No, I know, but I mean, they always had that leaps an eighth of a mile thing, and
yeah.
Right. The only reason I bring all that up is to say this is a very basic origin superhero story to me. And I don't care if it was in 40, and I don't care that the inside art's basic and it's 80 years ago. There's great artists that did good inside art from back then.
Oh yeah, I mean this is subpar.
Yeah, this is subpar in any book, even 80 years old. So,
but this is like a nickel comic.
It's a nickel comic, but there's still
half the art quality.
I'm pretty sure we can get inside art from the 40s that's better than.
Oh, the thing is, the art in the other two stories in the book weren't much better.
Actually, I thought the art in the second story was better.
Yeah,
like with the
jungle and shit.
Jungle thing.
I find that was hit or miss per panel.
Yeah, that's true.
Some were good and some were bad. Kind of like that Superman book we watched.
It was definitely more detailed. There was definitely more stuff to look at. So I'm gonna show the cover again before I give my score. I'm going to give the cover a 2.75, a little bit better than average. 2.75. It's okay. The Destroyer's the best part of it. So the inside heart, I'm going to give it a 2. I mean, it's not quite an average for me because, like I said, I feel like there's books from the 40s that will dwarf this by a long shot. Just look at the Timelies, for example, if you want to go there. So now, what's funny is like Action Comics, the covers are great, but sometimes inside art wasn't that great. And the first 10 covers weren't the greatest, But after that, they got significantly better. So, all right. Inside art, would I give it a? Oh, I'll write it down. My fault.
Well,
So
you
I
have to remember too, if you're going to talk Action Comics in the first 10 covers, Superman only appeared on covers 1, 7, and 10 of the first
That's
10.
right.
So
That's right. 2.75. Then I went.
Because they didn't know he was going to be a cool guy.
no, it wasn't until issue 14 when they realized their mistake and started putting Superman on every cover.
Yeah.
So they went with they were smart enough to have him on the first book at least, but then they finally figured it out later to let's just stick with them. So my inside art's a 2. My story is going to be a 2. I'll give it a 2 because it wasn't bad. It just seemed like a very basic story to me. So 2, and then overall I'm gonna go 2.25, and then we can all come together and I'll add her up.
Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, I like it. I like the book overall. Don't get me wrong. It's just that art, that interior art was terrible.
Yeah, the thing is, I gave the interior art a little bit higher score than you guys did, mainly because I did feel like, unlike some books where I find that they overdo the art and then they lose the story in the process, I found that this was it flowed well. It just seemed, it drove the story at least. It could have been better, yes, totally. I think this is a good comic that should be redone. You know what I mean? Like by better artists is what I would recommend.
I think Bullet Man should come back. I mean, like as a character, he's interesting. Okay. Yeah. And especially since he did last for 8 years. The story I'm looking at here, he was in Master Comics till 1949. And then the August 49, that was his last issue. And that was the last time he appeared in the Fawcett world, but they brought him back briefly in the 70s in the Shazam story. And apparently, according to this article I'm reading, Bullet Man actually entered the public domain by accident. So when DC Comics used him in a Shazam story, they got the copyright.
Oh, okay.
So he wasn't used in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and he was mentioned in a story on Earth S in the Justice League, apparently, but he wasn't in it. And as I said, was used last in this Infinite Crisis when they reestablished Earth S.
I think
actually the funny thing is Bullet Girl is in the public domain.
Yeah, she's still in the public domain.
Yeah.
Because they gave it a very narrow, because the problem is Bullet Man was in the public domain too, but because DC used him in a specific way, they got a new copyright on the way he used him, but they didn't use Bullet Girl in the same way, so she didn't get the same copyright.
I think my favorite part of the book was there wasn't a lot of extra crap, and it was kind of straight to the point and very quick story. So for as much stuff, you got almost every bullet point you wanted. You wanted it not to be a pun. Yeah. It gave you the reason why, it gave you the setup, it gave you the progression, and then a nice little crescendo. But it was all just so basic and straight down, like vanilla for me, that I was just like, eh. And then it made you feel like you were a dummy because his name's Bullet, and I was just like, I'm not going to even give it a half. But
see,
the total's 43 out of 80.
43 out of 80. Okay, be right back.
So how does that rate, Matt, for us?
That's what I'm doing right now. So 43 out of 80.
Yeah.
I thought you guys were gonna appreciate the serum and all that kind of stuff.
53.7%.
It was a good Golden Age book. It just wasn't a really good one. It was just like a almost average Golden Age book.
So it would be on our list. It would be third last at the moment.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry, man. So you gave it a 13.5. I think D gave it a 9.5. Matt gave it 11, and I gave it a 9. So it wasn't like the worst, of course, but out of 25, that's kind of low, yeah. Maybe I was a little harsher than I'd like to be, but I felt like I had some good.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
The cover was the best part of it. The story wasn't the worst, but it was.
But that's very typical as well from that era, right? Like a lot of really great covers.
Yeah, well, the cover's what's got to grab you when there's 300 stories there, 300 books to choose from. And,
So-
and in this case, I'm not just talking about comic books, because you've got pulps and you've got, you know, popular mechanics you're going up against and other
These are all
stuff.
on the newsstand, yeah.
Yeah. Even Time and Life sold a lot then, because that was pretty much the news, right? There
I think
wasn't
the big thing that they were trying to go for was the nickel. You know,
Yeah.
oh, you know, it's not a dime, it's a nickel. It's half price. You can,
And it's twice a month. Yeah, yeah. Anybody else got any finishing words on Nickel One before we go?
so it only lasted 8 issues, by the way.
Yeah, because they were losing so much money printing it.
Yeah.
They weren't selling enough to keep it going. That's at that price. That's why.
Yeah, so Cap came out like almost around this time, and
About 5 months after.
5 months after.
That's when they moved Bullet Man to Master Comics, though.
It would be interesting to see how it stacks up against this book, because I have a feeling it might be a little better.
So maybe as a future, like almost like a foreshadowing here, maybe my future Golden Age one will be a Cap one.
That'd be interesting.
That
Yeah,
would be
me too. Maybe me too. So, Matt, what do you got for us next, bud?
okay. Alan, you'll get it. Appreciate this. The next book I want to do is All-Star Squadron Annual 3, starring the Justice Society.
Oh shit!
Okay, it is a very well-written story I like, and the art will be a little confusing because 8 artists were guests on it, including George Perez, Jerry Ordway, Carmine Infantino, Wayne Boring, and Keith Giffen. Okay,
names, but
it's 1984. This is 1984. And this is one of the few Justice Society stories that have Batman and Superman in it.
okay, sounds cool.
But there is one thing that I know you'll like, Alan.
Mhm.
There's a certain Batman villain character in here. I'm not going to give it away to you now, but wearing an original costume.
Oh wow!
Okay, that gives you the idea of the time frame we're talking about as well, because it's Roy Thomas is the writer, so you know how he was very stickler about Golden Age stuff.
Okay.
The reason I like this book is because the story is a concept that actually really surprised me. I bought this originally off the stand back when I was younger, and the concept behind it was so good. It could have been a Twilight Zone episode.
Cool.
So I think that's why I decided we'll do this. It's got something for everybody. If you like twists, it's in there. If you like superheroes, it's in there. You like the Golden Age, it's in there. It's
Okay. Well, yesterday we all got together and hung out a little bit without you.
Yeah, I heard you guys were without me then.
Well, we didn't like do the episode, but we were just chilling, talking about shit, and we came up with an idea for the next club. Now,
Okay.
I'm not that good at doing drafts. Like, I would like to have someone type it out, and we could put the names and the team and shit if we could. But maybe one of y'all can help when we get there. But we're gonna fantasy draft comic book YouTubers for an all-star team, and then let the chat pick who has the best team.
Oh, okay.
If that sounds fun. I think it sounds fun. I kind of have my own number one. I hope no one gets, but we'll see.
So fantasy draft comic book character team or
No. YouTube comic book channels.
for example, in
Yeah.
this round, one of my favorites is you. I'm just
Okay.
going to use that as it. So I'm putting Alan up. That's what it's like.
Unless
and then the chat's going to go, oh well, he likes Alan. Who's the best of this batch? Who do
Yes.
we like the best?
Okay.
Yes. I think Darth's going to join us, Darth Lopez. And I don't know if Matt or D could maybe figure out a site I could go to type it out, but maybe I'll research and try to find that too so we can have some visual to look at. But all right. So We'll go around the
That's
horn.
what you want to do tomorrow for the Collectors Club.
Yeah, what are we doing tomorrow?
That's what I'm talking about. We're doing the
Okay. All
track
right.
We're doing the
Fair enough.
fantasy draft pick tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll go around the horn. Matt, you got anything going on? Are you and
Well,
Alan?
my video today announced my latest giveaway. I have been getting a lot of subscriptions lately, so I figured I'd better set one up because I want to use number 381 this time in honor of Supergirl's first solo title from Adventure Comics. That's why I pick weird numbers, Alan. I like to use them because
Yeah, it's always
listen, Leak remembered my 222 for the longest time. Why? He said because the number's different. That's
it's a
why I
very
pick
different number.
numbers. You know, everybody does 500. Everybody does 1,000. I'm going to do different. You know, and this time around, I'm going to give away 20 books plus a special prize that I've just got confirmation I can talk about. The winner is going to get a $25 US gift card with Bleak.
With
So basically, anybody who if the winner buys something off Bleak on the Band of Brothers or whatever, he gets a
$25 off.
$20 credit,
wow.
which I paid for already. So, and that's what I'm saying. So I'm going to announce that on my channel soon. The actual prizes once I get the comic books together. Got about half of them together now. I got a couple coming in. So.
That's really nice of Bleak.
Yeah, it's huge.
We actually.
Well, I mean, I paid for it. Like, don't. I mean, no.
Yeah,
It's
Bleak's a piece of shit.
No. I want Bleak. The whole point of this is to promote Bleak, and I'm not going to take his. I'm paying for it because it's part of the package I'm giving away.
Well,
It would
that's
be
funny.
the same for you, Biggie. If I said I'm going to give a $25 credit to Biggie on the Bandit Brothers, I would do the same thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Actually, Biggie gave away comics on my giveaway. He was actually
did,
really
yeah.
nice.
Yes, that's true. And the reason I picked Bleak in this case is that Bleak, in particular, with his church, did a really helped me get to over that first hump for the first giveaway. So I wanted a way to thank Bleak for doing
That's
this. So
Bleak, yes. So me, Bleak, and Journey, and K-pop, and Who Dat, and Chris, we all have this show called.
Band of Brothers.
No, it's like who is this channel? It's like we shout out a channel. I forget what it's exactly called. He calls it Illuminati, but there's all look at me.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Dad, have you been informed yet?
No, what?
Okay, so I think you might be the next channel we do.
Oh, that's
Well,
cool.
that would be really nice.
Yeah, it's like we picked.
I've you guys did a couple of channels that I've ended up following as a result.
Yeah,
There's,
sure.
there's
Nope.
that 365 or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, 360. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
30,
yeah.
60.
Him, he's pretty good. He's really good.
Yep. So you can catch me and D together. We do the Big D show. He pops on my speculation, and D, I really appreciate you, Big Dog. And Alan, you really soldiered through. Hopefully you can. I hope you do a Friday hangout and can hang out in the club. I know Alan hasn't been feeling the wellest, but or the best.
I'm going to try to do both shows tomorrow. Like on my channel with my Friday hangout.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go to your show and hang out with you guys as well. So.
Yeah, I know you guys got a pretty full little panel, but if you ever need somebody, just let me know. I'd hop on and help y'all out. But I appreciate you coming on.
Well, I'm going to be doing a live stream next Wednesday, and I haven't got any guests yet. So, Biggie, if you want to come on, I'd be happy to have you.
Cool, man. Absolutely will. Last time we did here,
It's scheduled for 7 right before we do our regular book thing.
Wednesday.
And it's only 45 minutes long. I don't go long. I've had out there a couple times.
Are we doing crystal meth or fentanyl this time?
Sure, either one.
Did heroin last time.
Yes, I know. I knew exactly where you're going. Actually, depending on whether I get Nate to show up, we're looking at doing Superman Triangle yearbooks.
Okay.
Just ones like pull out ones you like from the Triangle years.
All right.
Where are
Great.
the triangle years? I don't.
Those are the years that the Superman books were intertwined. So every week they put a triangle on it to say
Oh, the 90s.
to the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
They put a triangle on it, and that includes, by the way, the Death of Superman arc is in there.
Oh, shit.
Because and you just pick the ones you like, basically. And,
Oh,
and
shit.
that's what we're going for. If I can get Nate's going to get back to me in a day or so.
Hell yeah.
But that's, I mean, like Alan, from 1991 to 2002, they put the order of the books of the Superman books on the covers.
I saw in the little
year with the little triangle, and that's why they call it the triangle years, so that you would read them in order, like you know what order the story is going in.
Interesting.
Because I believe it was for most months it was Superman, Action, Adventure, and then Adventures of Superman, Man of Steel. Like those were the orders of the books for the longest.
That's really annoying, though. You'd have to go from one title to the next title.
Yeah, but the thing is, one a week came out. That's why
we all know about this because we went through it with the Death and the Return. So.
Yeah, every week another book came out, and then there was a fifth one for a couple years called The Man of Tomorrow, which was a quarterly to come out in the weeks that in the months that had 5 Wednesdays or whatever.
Okay.
So and every so often too, like Emperor Joker is a storyline I use as an example. They would do a special that would also get into the triangle things because there was a big story that they wanted to have a extra big finish to, like Emperor Joker. And then there was there's one where there was a certain Luther getting elected president was another one where they had it in the triangle years, but it was outside the main.
Okay.
They call it the Lex election special.
Very nice. Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. We're going to talk about the triangle years and just which ones we liked, and that's what we're going to show.
Okay.
All right. I have to do a little studying on that, but I will be ready, man. All right. So thank you guys very much for coming. That was Nickel Comics 1. This has been the book club, and we'll see y'all Wednesday. Catch y'all later, man. Thank you so much.